Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon.
Hey guys, Vanity Ezel back with Card Vanguard, as on the Vanity weekly videos. So because you enjoyed, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and switch off your salary. So if I sound different today, or if I get a little bit more off topic, or I just seem to kind of start rambling or not know what I'm doing, is mainly because I'm sick. So right now I am actively trying to fight the parts of my body that are not focusing. So if I just drift off, or I seem to just lose a thought process, that's probably what's happening. So hopefully I get to stay on topic and get to say what I need to say and what I want to say. But if I can't, yeah, that's why. So also ignore me coughing a lot. So let's go ahead and start shop and see what we got. First up today, we have Satellite Repair, grade 2 and set 5k shield, 10k base, auto when placed on the rear guard circle. By energy blasting 4, you get to counter charge 1. All around, a very solid card. If you have a deck that in rank 8 that takes up a lot of CB but doesn't take up a lot of EB, you have the freest card in the world to use that is literally just on place. Take 4 of your energies that you're not using and counter charge 1 with it. All around, it's a very solid grade 1. It works for a lot of non-energy charge, or for a lot of decks that don't use the energy blast a lot. And if you're playing something like Welstra, who does energy charge a lot, thanks to their one set order that basically energy charges 3 for free, you can use Repairer to basically use most of that +1 and then get a free counter charge out of it to help aid in your counter blast. All around, Satellite Repair is a very solid grade 2. I think it's a good option for any CB heavy decks. It's a nice 2/3 of. Then we have Spirit Hunter Servain, grade 2, 3/3, inner twin drive, Persona right, 13k biz. Auto when placed on rear guard circle from the drop zone. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Crystonios in this card name, you may have this unit get up to 10 power for that turn. And if you did not, or if you did, at the end of the turn, retire this unit. So cool, Crystonios places them without giving them power, if I remember correctly. So being able to give himself 23 is nice. And then auto rear guard once per turn. Once you attack Soul Blast 1, choose one of your Vanguards and it gets +1 power for that turn. And then if you Soul Blasted, or if your Vanguard's standing and you Soul Blasted a Crystonios, you get to stand this unit at the end of the battle. All around, pretty solid, 23k base when placed from Crystonios. Then it can make the Vanguard an 18k base without Persona Ride. And not to mention the fact it can stand itself if you Soul Blast a Crystonios, and there are ways to deck thin out for the Crystonios, and I think there might be a way to send them to Soul 2. So around, Servain is a pretty solid grade 3 for support. I like it a lot. It gives Crystonios the one thing it was lacking, or the two things it was lacking: power, multi-attack, and its superior call skill. So very solid 3 over 4 of. Then we have Fierce Flame Monk Kofu, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continues rear guard and guard circle. If you have a Vanguard that's a grade 3 or greater with Varga in the card name, it gets +5,000 power and 5k shield, active on both players' turns. All around, pretty solid, being a 13k base and a 10k shield just by having the Varga card name is great, because that means if we eventually get another Dragress unit, even if it doesn't actually have Dragress in his name, as long as it has the Varga part, it'll be a 13k booster or swinger with a 10k shield. All around, Kofu is a very solid grade 1. I do like its skill a lot. I think it's good for the deck support, especially because I have played it. It does take up a little bit of defense, or at least in premium it doesn't have a lot of defense the way I chose to build it. So being able to have the extra 5k shield is definitely really helpful. So very solid 4-up. Then we have our ride line for, for Varga. That first up we have the grade 1 Blaze Barm Dragon, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, auto when rode upon by Boulder X Dragon, call its card to rear guard circle and soul charge 1. So being able to be rode upon by the specific grade 2 in order to call itself and basically replace itself with soul charge, pretty nice. And then continues rear guard during turn. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga in its card name, gets +2,000 power. So 10k, again, nothing too big or important, but again, the fact that it can superior call itself is good because it's a 10k booster and or swinger, which can definitely help aid in late game plays, especially because you're constantly killing your front row. So worst comes to worst, at least a 10k swinger with any boost, it most likely becomes a 5k drop, which is pretty solid. And also replace itself for Soul, so in case you play a Soul Blast engine, it can definitely help aid in that regard. Then we have Boulder X Dragon, grade 10 set 5k shield, 10k base, auto and rode upon by a grade 3 card Varga in this card name. Again, if they ever evolve Dragress, they don't have to keep the Dragress part, they can just keep the Varga part. Call this card to rear guard circle, and then auto when it attacks a Vanguard. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard with Varga in its card name, gets +5,000 power for the battle. At the end of the battle, retire the unit and draw a card. That effect is mandatory. So on the bright side, the second that it swings into any grade Vanguard, as long as it's the Vanguard, and you have a Varga grade 3, he automatically becomes a 15k swinger, possibly with this boosting, or any grade 1 boosting is either 23 or 25. Then it retires up to draw a card, and that is very important, because since Varga retires the front row consistently, you are not losing out on your front row resource. In fact, you are gaining resource because they replace themselves, while your opponent can still be losing out on their front row if they don't intercept in time. So all around, Boulder Axe is a very solid grade 2. I do like his skill. I think he's amazing. He's definitely one of those cards you want to run in your main deck, because worst comes to worst, it definitely makes your deck a lot more consistent if you can't pull off your big plays because your opponent's not at a certain grade or maybe you haven't pulled your units yet. So definitely a 3 of in the main deck. Then move on to our main grade 3. Faded one of unparalleled Varga Dragras, grade 3 twin drive persona, right? 13k base. Auto Vanguard circle once per turn. When this unit attacks into a Vanguard, by counterblasting, one retire all of your opponent's front or rear guards, and this unit can plus 10,000 power for that battle, or for the turn. At the end of that battle, stand this unit and will lose 2 drives for the turn. So all around, pretty solid. 23k swing, destroys the entire front row, and gets a guaranteed Vanguard restand, all for the simple cause of a counterblast. All around a very solid skill, and if they just made his Divine skill a way to get a crit and nullify your opponent's ability to guard and maybe +1 drive, then I would say it's a pretty good card. But they decided to go a step beyond, which makes this thing so stupid in premium combined with Dauntless. Divine skill, Auto Vanguard Circle. At the end of battle, this unit attacks a grade 3 or greater unit. Doesn't matter if it's the Vanguard or rear guard. If your opponent's damage on has 4 or more cards in it, and this unit has attacked 2 or more times this turn, counterblast 1 to stand this unit, and it gets +2 drives till end of turn. Divine Skill is only be used a total of 1 time per fight, shared among your other cards as well. So, being able to attack anything for that restand is great. The only downside is you have to attack with the Vanguard twice or more, but the fact that it can regain its drives is great, so you have a total of 4 drives in D. Now in Premium, if you combine this with Dauntless and ride this on top of Dauntless, all you need at the start of your turn is 2 hand cards, and one of them has to be this. Or technically speaking, one of them doesn't have to be this, as long as the card you draw for turn is this. As long as one of the 3 cards you will have at the start of your main phase is this, you will have the play. But pretty much, you ride this on top of Dauntless, against Dauntless restand skill, swing with it, do your drive checks, doesn't matter what you pulled, use Dauntless restand skill first, discard, stand, swing, at the end of that swing, you then use your Divine skill, because it already attacked twice, restand it, you have a total of 4 drives. Now after you do your other 2 drive checks, you swing with it again, you have a total of 8 drives, you use the skill now to get the 10k, it doesn't matter if they guard or not, you stand it, you swing. All around, Dragras is a very powerful grade 3, getting those restands, adding a crit pressure possibly from your drive checks on top of it, and just more drive checks in general is amazing. And of course, he has the moon in the background, so he gets my full bias bonus. Either way, Dragras, easiest 4 of my life, and probably one of my favorite decks to build from D in Premium. Then we go into his support grade 3. First up, we have, it's a rare for some reason, and that is Obscurary Glaive Dragon. Sorry, I'm just not right now. Grade 3 to number 13k base, continues front or rear guard circle during your turn. If you do not have another front or rear guard with the same name as this unit, it cannot be retired by card effects, and it gets plus 10,000 power. So it can avoid Dragras' skill, but is not having another copy, and it'll be a 23k base, which is great. And then continues rear guard. If you have a grade 3 greater Vanguard with Varga in its card name, it gets boost. All around pretty solid. If you have like a better front row unit, or in case you have another copy of this in the front row, because it just can't have another copy of it in the front row to get this effect. So say for example you had 2 of them in the same column, the front row will give plus 20 will be a 23k base, and the back one will be a 13k booster. All around, Glaive is a very solid grade 3. I do like his skill. I never really get to call him to back row, but the one time, or not the one time, but the day I do get to call him to back row is the day that he'll be released for, because again, booster. So easy for Varga. Then we have Impale Horn Dragon, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continues rear guard circle during the battle that it boosted. If you have a grade 3 greater Vanguard Varga in its card name, it gets plus 2,000 power. And then auto rear guard, when this unit boosted a grade 3 greater Vanguard Varga in its card name, it gets plus 2,000 power for the battle. At the end of that battle, Soul Boss will retire this to draw a card. All around pretty solid, because it's a 13k booster regardless of who it's boosting, as long as you have the Varga grade 3. And then, when it boosts specifically the Vanguard, it can become a 15k booster that can possibly let you draw a card, which can definitely help amp up your hand, because again, you're constantly retiring the front rows of both players, though it's not really needed for this deck, because there are multiple ways that you don't really need to recycle the front row units. I mean, there's Boulder Axe over here who just lets you draw to replace him. There's Glaive, who can't die. And then there's Shura, who also can't die and can actually call herself back. So, Shura, who is not a once per turn on either of her skills, I might add. Grade 2 and a 5k shield, 10k base, auto rear guard when she swings into anything, energy blast 2, and she'll get plus 5,000 power for that battle. Then choose one of your other rear guards with a different card name from her, and it gets auto when retire from the rear guard circle, return this card to your hand till end of turn. So, worst case scenario, if you don't have either another copy of her, or Glaive, or Boulder Axe in your front row, and you have something maybe like Impale Horn, or Blansbar in your front row that will die to Varga, you can just use the energy blast to give that unit the retire skill, and if you don't, well then it's a free 5k to Shura, so there's that. And then the other skill is auto when she's retired from rear guard circle by the ability of your grade 3 greater Vanguard Varga in his card name. If your opponent's Vanguard's a grade 3 or greater, counterboss 1, call this card to rear guard circle, and it gets 10,000 power for that turn. So, recycles itself, multi-attack, not at once per turn, which, yes, this will total cost you 4 CB, assuming that you use the Divine skill this turn. You could get 6 attacks in a turn? What, because Shura on one side, Shura on the other side, Vanguard nukes the front row, and then they call themselves back. Vanguard attacks again, so 4. Vanguard then restands. Vanguard attacks again, so 5. Shura, that's 7 attacks in total. So all around Shura is great. Granted, that will take up a lot of CB, pretty much all of yours CB, but on the bright side, she does at least allow for multi-attack, and if there's only one of her, it doesn't really cause that much of a problem, and she can help recycle units in case you don't see any of your other important pieces that will die to drag rest. So all around Shura, very solid grade 2, easy 4 of. Then we have Desire Devil Dokusan, grade 3 to only 13k base. Sadly, I would not be running him in my Greed on deck simply because as much as he's an elephant, I just don't need a skill, but he is a good card. Although when this unit is placed on rearguard circle, you have to one card with either Greed on or Desire Devil in its card name from your drop zone, put it to Soul. Then if your Soul has a total of 4 more cards with either Greed on or Desire Devil in their card names, it gets more 5,000 power for the turn. All around, pretty solid. It's an 18k, most likely, and it can help refill your Soul, so if you keep Soul blasting out via Greed on or you need more Greed ons and Soul for skills, Dokusan can definitely help out in that, or it can help reset your Desire Devils in case you want to call them for skills. All around, Dokusen is a very solid grade 3. It's just a nice card to have, so 3 over 4 of. Then we have Blitz Operator Toru, grade 2 instead of 5k shield, 10k base. Continuous during your turn. If your order zone has a product, it gets with 5,000 power. I saw the Discord that this was revealed and called it meh. My response to this card, just by playing the deck's gimmick, it doesn't even matter if the order's operated, it doesn't matter what grade your Vanguard is, it doesn't matter what orders you have in order zone, as long as your order zone has any one product, it's a 15k base during your turn, which is cool. And then auto rearguard, when she attacks into a Vanguard, if you have a Vanguard with Wellstern's card name with a Divine skill, by counterblasting one, choose a product card in your order zone and operate it. All around pretty solid. I do wish she was just a Soul Blast one instead of a Counterblast one to do that, so we could just not run Freiheit, because no offense to Freiheit, but considering we already have the search and we need to the ride line, and then we no longer have to rely on him to place orders superiorly because we have Welser's Divine skill, and you don't really need to do that more than once now. We don't really need Freiheit, not to say he's not a good card still, but if she was a Soul Blast one, I could definitely see us replacing Freiheit, but CB1, still pretty decent. It does eat into the CB a little bit, especially with all of our orders, but hey, 15k base. And time to move on to the rest of the reveals. First up, we have our new Magnolia line, so finally people can stop complaining about the very inconsistent Cherish and Lattice. First up, we have Blossoming Flower, Sylvan Horn Beast Cherish, auto and wrote upon by a grade 2 with Sylvan Horn Beast in the card name. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck, so one grade 2 less normal unit from on them, call it to rear guard, and you may discard the rest. And if you don't discard any, you can put all the cards not chosen on the bottom of your deck in any order. All around pretty solid because unlike before, where it could either send a Magnolia, whether it was an Elder, Persona Ride, or Mask, or something like that to Soul, now guaranteed to get your rear guard, and if it doesn't, you can bot deck them, so you're not losing anything of importance. Then, of course, sadly has no rear guard skill, but you know, I like his art, I think he's cute, and I do very much like his new filter skill. Then move on to Mercy, Sylvan Horn Beast Lattice. Also, he has synergy with the old Lattice, so if you like the old Lattice more than you like the new Lattice, there you go. Anyways, Lattice, grade 2 instead of 5k shield, 10k base, auto when wrote upon by any grade 3 with Magnolia in his card name, so it could be Mask if you found a way to normal ride Mask on top of it, or just normal Magnolia. So boss 1, choose a grade 3 or greater card from your drop zone, or a normal order from your drop zone, and put it to your hand. All around pretty solid, it's a way to fetch back Persona Rides, or Elder, or Mask of Hedrogum. All around it's pretty good, like it genuinely helps support the Magnolia style overall, and then continues rear guard during your turn if you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Magnolia in its card name because with 5,000 power. So cool, 15k base. I do like the old Lattice in terms of rear guard ability, like the new one in terms of Vanguard ability is great, because the other one either calls something to rear guard added to hand from top of deck, while this one calls or adds something from drop zone to hand, which I think is far more important. And the thing is, though, it only eats up one soul compared to Lattice, who every time it would swing would eat up another soul. But it does get less power than old Lattice, so I do like his rear guard skill. I like the old Lattice rear guard skill more than like the new Lattice rear guard skill, but I do like this one's ride skill more than I like the old one's ride skill. All around very solid, and I love how Cherish is basically objectively better, and now you can actively swap which one you want more out of the grade 2s, because he'll work with both of them, so thank you, Bushy. Then we have our new Christine line, or the last faded one is set 1. First up, we have a grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, and lively navy Tefnine. Auto when wrote upon by a confident Aqua Musette. Reveal the top card of your deck if it called to rear guard as a grade 2 unit card, and put it to your hand if it's not. All around pretty solid, or to be more than normal unit, so it can, if it can flip a trigger, it will add it to hand. Flip a Persona Ride, add it to hand. It really pretty much either adds anything that you don't want a rear guard to hand, or calls everything you want on rear guard to hand, and the only exception to that is like PGs. So All around, Tiffany is pretty good, grade 1. One of in the right deck, selling no rearguard skills, but a very solid card to have. Then we have Confident Aqua Musette, grade 2 instead 5k shield, 10k base. Auto when she was rolled upon by a grade 3 with Cresserin in his card name. Reveal the top card of your deck, call it a rearguard if it's a grade 3 unit, put it to your hand if it's not. So, arguably worse than what Tiffany is, because yes, she gets you one more unit in that range, but the downside is because she will call anything that is not a grade 4 or a trigger, and that means she can call Persona Rise and you are forced to call it, which sucks. But on the bright side, Cresserin can bounce them, so it's not that bad. All around Musette is not an amazing grade 2, but her skill is not bad by any means. It's just how it's worded and how Cresserin works that makes it better. So one of in the right deck, none in the main deck, just because no rearguard skill. Then we have Fated, one of ever-changing Cresserin, so her ability is the only Vanguard we've seen so far that actually interacts with the energy zone, or act Vanguard once per turn, cost counter plus 1, perform one of the following by any means. So if you have no rear guards, you can still perform one of them. And then if you have 4 more with different card names, perform 2 instead of 1. And then if you have 5 more units with different card names, perform all of them instead of 1. So the first one is draw a card, energy charge 3. The other one is choose one of your units that gets plus 15k for that turn. And then the other one is this unit gets a crit for the turn. All around pretty solid because again, no matter what, as long as you have 1 CB, you can perform any one of these 3 skills. And then if you have 4 or more with different card names, you can perform any 2 of them. And if you have 5 or more, you perform all 3 of them. And then its divine skills, auto Vanguard. The amount that she attacked a grade 3 or greater unit, doesn't matter if it's Vanguard or Rearguard. Return all your rear cards to your hand, then choose up to 1 unit card from your hand, call it a rear card until end of turn. Increase or decrease that unit's power and critical to match this one. So I'm pretty solid, so you can get 4 attacks the turn you use the divine skill, and typically it's going to be the turn where you get the 15k and extra crit to her, and maybe a persona right on top of that. So, you know, pretty much stack all of your triggers to her, and hopefully you will get good use out of that. And the best part is, she only cost 1 CB out of her entire cost to do any of this, so she gets you a lot of resources for free. All around, very solid grade 3. I do think she's great, and she's probably going to be the deck that has the most energy blast, because she can casually get you an energy charge 3 and draw a card, which is the most solid resource skill I've ever seen in my entire life. Then we have Cynical Composer Rem, grade 1 boost, 5k shield, 8k base, continues rearguard circle during the battle that she boosted. If you have a grade 3 Vanguard or a greater Vanguard with Crescenden's card name, she gets plus 5,000 power, and then auto rearguard when she boosted a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Crescendent her card name. If you have 4 more different rearguards or 4 more different units with different card names, cost energy blast 3 until end of the battle. When your opponent call cards from hand without sentinel from their hand to guard circle, they must call 3 more at the same time with different grades. So either your opponent drops a PG and they drop an extra card for it, or they drop 3 cards at once, all of which being different grades. Ram is an amazing grade 1. Her cost is literally made free by Cresserin's existence, and she forces out 3 cards at once, or Vanguard take on a Vanguard that already has double crit, or just forces out the PG outright. Either way, Ram is a very good grade 1. It is the easiest 4 in this deck, or if you're afraid of the whole different name thing, 3 of. And then we have our last card of the day, and that is Innocent Orange Enes, creators at 5k shield, 10k base. Auto when she's placed on rearguard circle. If you have a grade 3 or greater Vanguard Crescenden's card name, card most 1 energy blast 3 to look at the top 5 cards of your deck. Choose to 1 unit card from among them with a different card name from unit cards on your Vanguard or rearguard. Call it to rearguard circle and shuffle the deck. Okay, so on the bright side, it doesn't matter how many of them are the same name as something already on the board. You just have to pick something that isn't on the board. And then auto rearguard when she attacks a grade 3 or greater unit. If you have 4 more different card names on board, she gets the best power for that battle. All around pretty solid, 20k swing, which is very nice to have. She gets to get an extra rearguard on board by counter velocity 1 at energy velocity 3, very hefty cost, especially when Christine actually takes up a CB for her skill, but again, her energy blast makes it, or her energy charge makes it free. All around, not a bad grade 2. Again, if you're scared of the different card name thing, 3 of it, but if you're not scared of it, 4 of it. Either way though, that is it for all of our Divine Z Set 1 reveals. These have been some pretty nice cards, and I cannot wait to see where Set 2 goes. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join us Discord, follow Twitch, and I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to set up your Vanguards.